and welcome to another edition of Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. Our first guest is a pint-sized one. Sitting on Tammy's lap, we have Flynn, and he is a one-year-old terrier mix. And even though he looks pretty comfortable on Tammy's lap, he's actually one of our shyer dogs. So he's a little nervous around new people, new situations, loud noises, things like that. So he just requires an owner who's going to be very patient with him and understanding, making sure that they're giving him the proper socialization that he needs, but also not pushing it to the point where it's detrimental for him and too scary. So you just want to, take things a little bit slower. With shy dogs, it's always a good idea to let them definitely settle into your home before you start introducing them to other places, lots of other people. It's always a good idea regardless of the dog, but for shy dogs, it's definitely, in my opinion, a little bit more important so that they can feel comfortable with you and know that you're there to keep them safe before you're introducing them to a bunch of other people. Flynn was surrendered to us because the owner said that they couldn't keep him in their current home and they couldn't afford his vet care. And that's a good point. Before you're making a decision to take on a pet, you should be thinking as far as what the expenses are going to be. In all of our adoption interviews, we always go over the estimated cost of owning a pet for a year, just so that our adopters understand before they walk out the door with an animal that it is something that's going to cost them, approximately $1,000 or more a year to own a pet. So if you can't find space for that in your budget, then maybe it's not a great time for you to take on an animal as great as they are to have in your home. So if you're interested in making Flynn part of your family, you can come in and visit with him here at Animal Control. If you have another dog in your home, we always recommend doing a meet and greet, and it is a requirement that everyone in your family visit with our animal. Flynn, while he's a great small dog, because he can be a little shy, he might not be a great match for someone with a lot of small children because the loud noises and the quick movements could make him a little nervous and anxious. So we want to make sure it's a good fit for all involved by making sure that everyone meets with the animal. But again, to start that process, you can visit us here at Animal Control, 1832 Rosemont Avenue. This handsome guy is Cosmo, and he's also a year old. We have him down as a lab mix. His previous owner said he was a lab shepherd mix. He is a little overweight, so a diet and exercise plan would be good for him. But just like Flynn before him, he's also one of our shy dogs. Cosmo might even be a little bit shyer than small Flynn was. So he has a lot of great things, but again, he's going to need a lot of that patience to get him adjusted to a new environment. So in our behavior assessment of Cosmo, we found that he's really good about keeping his kennel clean or using his separate kennel. He has no issues with food aggression, no issues with guarding. He willingly lets go of toys when he's playing with them. He really enjoys being petted and cuddled with. But he's also, when you approach his kennel, he's very cautious. He's very fearful. When he's in his kennel and other dogs walk by, he has no negative reactions, but you can tell by his body language that he's nervous. Trying to get him out of the kennel, he's nervous. When he feels confident, he walks nicely on a leash, but otherwise he can lag behind. So he really just needs someone who's going to give him that confidence boost and make him feel comfortable so that he can be a little bit more outgoing. But it's definitely not a process that you're going to be able to rush. You have to be patient and do it in his time and really be devoted to working with him. According to his previous owner, he was relinquished because of housing reasons, but he did live with another dog, so he has experiences living with a dog, a smaller dog, actually a Shih Tzu. And the information that they gave us about the dog, they say that in a home environment, I guess where he's more comfortable, Cosmo is playful and energetic, he's friendly, he's used to normal maintenance, car rides, baths, nail trims, vet checks. But they also say that he has a lot of things that some people don't like. They're typical dog behaviors, but most of the time owners work to kind of train those things out. So he's a chewer, a chaser, a digger, a barker, a jumper. All of those things you can work with Cosmo. to train him to behave accordingly and as you see appropriate in your house. And that's also something that will really build up his confidence and make him feel more comfortable too. So there's a lot of great things that training can provide for your dog, not just giving them, making them well behaved when you're taking them out or when people are visiting your home, but giving them the confidence to feel good about themselves. If you wanted to visit with Cosmo, you can stop in at the shelter. We are open to the public Monday through Saturday. Our hours of open kennels are Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from 10 to 5, Wednesday and Thursday from 12 to 8, and Saturday from 10 to 4. We went from a couple of shy dogs to Maggie, and Maggie definitely does not qualify as shy. Maggie is a 1-year-old husky, and she is a bit of an unusual looking husky. She's on the smaller size. She's weighs 44 pounds, so she's definitely not as large as most are, but her behavior is all husky. So because Maggie's had some issues with being very, she has a very high prey drive, and just some other quirks that are typical of huskies, we have a lot of restrictions on the type of family that can adopt Maggie. So first, she can only go to an adult home. Her new adopter is required to have husky experience, and it's because of her high prey drive, she can only go to a home with medium to large dogs in the home. So we're thinking over 40 pounds. So no cats, no livestock, no small animals. Part of the reason that Maggie was brought to us was because her previous owner said that she was showing some behavior changes. She was chasing the chickens and she was going after house cats. They lived in a home with 4 cats, so that's not going to be a great fit if Maggie's trying to hurt them. So that's why we're trying to be very cautious about the type of environment that we place her in. Our behavior assessment of Maggie indicates that she keeps her kennel clean. She can be a little nervous, so she's very cautious when people are approaching her kennel. Her reaction with other dogs is none, so that's a good thing. She can take a little coaxing to get her out of the kennel. She's easy to walk, but she can lag behind a bit. She is very possessive of her food in that she'll pick the bowl up if you try to take it away and carry it away. She reluctantly gives up objects. She enjoys touch to a certain degree, but then she becomes playfully aroused, and then at some point she can become highly aroused and then turn her head around and be a little bit mouthy, which is partially why we don't want her going to a home with children, because children don't always understand body language. If they're not able to react to what Maggie is telling them, she might nip at them and hurt them in some sort of way. So we're trying to prevent a bad situation for children in the home and also a bad situation for the dog. So if you wanted to stop in and visit with her, do come in, but bear in mind that because of the restrictions that she has, unless you meet those minimum qualifications, we're probably not going to take Maggie out for you. So again, no children in the home, no small animals of any kind, and then also that husky experience. The last dog that we have for you today is Annabelle, and she's one of our seniors. And you can't help when you're working at the shelter but to have favorites. So Annabelle is currently my favorite dog. She won my heart over very quickly with her just quiet, sweet demeanor. She is a little nervous. She's another one of our shyer dogs, but once she gets comfortable with you, she's such a love. She wants to sit next to you and be petted. She wants to give hugs and give you kisses. She walks really nicely on the leash. She's very respectful of people when she's meeting them for the first time. She was good with dogs. We took her to Yappy Hour, and she was, in fact, the best behaved dog there. She's very polite. She has some good basic manners. She sits nicely. She takes treats pretty nicely. She listens. If you tell her no, that's too rough, do it gentle, she does that. We actually put a coat on her, so she was okay with having a coat on her. In fact, she actually kind of liked it. After she got nice and warm and cozy, she fell asleep. She loves to eat grilled chicken because she had some of that. And her previous owner was a man, so she lived alone with a man. And I found that she does well with women, but she got really excited when she was seeing men. She became really a lot more animated because that's what she's accustomed to. So she would do well in any home, but she really does, she spent, her entire life living with a guy, and so she's really comfortable with that situation. A couple other things that we noticed is right now she seems very nervous getting in the car. So she takes some coaxing. She doesn't cry or try to be destructive in the car, but you can definitely tell that there's some anxiety there. It could just be because the last couple times she went into the car, she was taken away from her owner. So that might ease up once she feels more comfortable. And another thing is, while she's good with other dogs, if other dogs come at her with a really high energy, she backs away. She's not necessarily into that really high puppy energy. She's 9 years old. She's going to be calmer and kind of more relaxed and quiet. She was not a fan of dog beds. She would rather sleep in a blanket on the floor. So no need to necessarily buy her the most expensive dog bed out there, because I haven't actually seen her get into one. But yeah, she's just very sweet. She is older dog, so she does have a little bit of arthritis, and she can move a little bit slower because, again, she's a little shy, and she can be a little sore from that arthritis. We're looking for those kids that are, a little bit older to be around her. We don't necessarily want 2 and 3 year olds who are going to be maybe pulling on her tail or her ears and trying to sit on her and things like that. We want kids that understand the appropriate, respectful way to interact with your dog. So if you're interested in bringing Annabelle home and making her part of your family, because she is a senior, she has reductions in her adoption fee, so you can always ask us about those. Typically what it is dogs that are 5 to 9, it's $20 off, and then animals that are 10 to kind of 14-ish, it's about $40 off. So you can, ask about what kind of discounts would be available when you're adopting a senior pet. If you want to make Annabelle part of your home, obviously you have to do the first step by coming in and visiting with her. If you want to do that, we are located at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. And that's going to wrap it up for this portion, the dog portion of the show. Fortunately, a lot of our dogs are scheduled for adoption, so we only have 4 dogs for you this week. If you tune in after the break, we're going to introduce you to a handful of cats that are also looking for their forever homes.
Do you know about the Nature Academy and the Museum Academy for ages 6 and under in Frederick County? At Nature Academy, you can explore the sounds, sights, and smells of nature at the Fountain Rock Park and Nature Center. At the Museum Academy at Rose Hill Manor, you'll have fun with numbers, colors, shapes, letters, and more. You will participate in crafts like painting and stamping, learn sign language in daily songs and play, and have a lot of fun understanding the history of where we live. New this fall is Little Hands Cooking, a cooking series that the little chefs are super excited about. They will be preparing recipes and learning culinary skills, nutrition, and literature. For information on how to register, please call 301-600-2936 or visit recreator.com. Come cook, explore, and craft with us.
Welcome back. Our first cat is Natty, and because in honor of St. Patrick's Day, we started naming some of our cats after beer brands. So that's where Natty gets her name. She's about 1 year old. She's a domestic short-hair brown tabby, and she came to us as a stray. So we're just, as with all of our strays, we're learning more about them as they spend time with us. Natty arrived the end of February and was placed on the adoption floor at the beginning of March. Right now, you might not see Natty because she was recently spayed, so she's still in kind of a recovery area, and in the next day or so, we're hoping that she'll be moving back out onto the adoption floor where or potential adopters will be able to see her. But you will still notice that she does have a shaved belly from that procedure. And another thing that we do when we spay animals in-house here at the shelter is we also give them a little tattoo. So when animals come in to various shelters, we always check to see if they're spayed or neutered. And sometimes, especially if animals are spayed when they're young, small kittens, then those incisions heal really well, which is a good thing, but it makes it hard to see the scar or to feel a scar to see if they've already been spayed. So those little tattoos are just kind of another method of identifying that that's been done. With feral cats, you see that they get ear tipped, so they just take a little chunk out of the top of their ear so that from a distance you can tell that those animals have been altered. This is just kind of the house cat's way of getting that identifying mark. So it's nothing to be concerned about. Natty is a very sweet girl. She loves attention. She will ask for it a little bit. She's in an area where volunteers can't interact with her right now, so when staff walk by, she lets people know that she's there. She likes to roll around and just love to be petted and cuddled with. Right now, she's super content. She's closing her eyes. She's doing soft eyes. I would imagine that she's purring. So she's content to be a lap cat, but at a year old, she's still going to be plenty playful. So she's just a good mix of a cat. She's an average cat, but she does have that very sweet personality. Young cats are going to be more apt to pounce on your feet at night and run up and down your hallways, but that's part of what makes them fun. But as you can see, Natty definitely has that side of her where she will sit and cuddle with you. If Natty is fitting that bill for you, you can stop in and visit with her here at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. Our next guest is Ralph, and he currently is taking the award for biggest cat on the adoption floor. Ralph weighs in at 21 pounds, 5 ounces, so he is a big boy. He is also on our diet plan, so he's on a diet. If you were to take Ralph home, getting him on a diet and getting him some exercise would be the best thing for him. He kind of reminds everyone here at the shelter of a male version of Gwen. I don't know if our viewers or frequent visitors to the shelter remember Gwen. She was a female brown tabby cat that was with us for about 6 months, and she was on the larger side. She also had a little sass to her, and all of the staff think of Ralph as the male Gwen. Can be super sweet, but also can be a little sassy and a large and in charge. So cat savvy is probably the best type of a home for Ralph. As you can see, he's not really into being on the lap, but now he's found a toy and he's pretty happy with that. I have seen him sit kind of half on a lap and half in his cage with some volunteers, so it just depends on his mood. It's a little uncomfortable out here because it's a new situation, but also the animals that are larger, because there is so much weight to shift around, sitting certain ways can be uncomfortable for them, which is another reason why it's really important to get them down to healthy weights. Mobility, just general overall comfort, and then their medical concerns. Overweight cats can develop more arthritis, diabetes, and various other health conditions that are related solely to not being fed properly. Ralph was brought to us because they say that he's aggressive and that he attacks his owner at night. So it's important for us to address this. First off, aggression in any animal is subjective. What one person thinks is just typical animal behavior, another person might think is aggressive. We do have him listed as one of our purple cards, so because he is a little sassy, we want to make sure that people are recognizing that they're not going to get hurt. But attacks owner at night could just mean he was pouncing on your feet, pouncing on you because he wants to play and he's hunting your toes, or it could mean that he was giving you a little bit of a smack in the face. I have a cat that does that when he wants attention at 3 a.m. Or it could be something a little bit more aggressive. We're not exactly sure because they just said attacks owner. It could mean a lot of things. Because he is a senior at the age of 5, he would get $20 off his adoption fee, making him $77.50 instead of the normal $97.50.
It's okay. It's okay, baby.
We have a lot of brown tabbies on the adoption floor right now, and we have a lot of brown tabbies on the show today, but our next guy is something a little different. He is an orange tabby with white. This is Thumper. He's about a year and a half old. He also came to us as a stray. He is super cute. He's got the little fat cheeks. He's so adorable, and he's just a really chill guy. He's pretty confident on the adoption floor. He's not really overly upset about being out there. His first day on the adoption floor, I walked by his cage and he was sound asleep, like nothing was bothering him. It wasn't new, it was just, he was completely comfortable. The volunteers say that he approaches their cage when they're hanging out with him, and he comes right up, and he's happy to be picked up and handled and petted. Not into his carrier, but a lot of cats don't like going into those carriers. Even though he's an adult at a year and a half, and he's not small by any stretch. He's 10 pounds. He does have a very kitten-like face. So there's something very youthful about his face and his chubby little cheeks. Thumper got his name because while they were treating him, he was I can't remember if it was with his tail or with his foot. He was just thumping on the exam table. So that's how he got his name. He came to us with some parasites, which we treated. He had some ear mites. So when people come to visit him, they're going to notice that he has some hair loss and some scratches and scabs behind his ears. So those ear mites can be painful to their ears and a little itchy. So then they start scratching at it, and that's where that comes from. Those marks come from him scratching at it because before he came here, those ear mites went untreated. So we've treated all of those things. We always treat all of the animals that come in for those things if it's necessary. Before he goes home, he'll also be neutered. He will be rabies vaccinated. He already had his distemper vaccine. He's gotten that flea and tick preventative. We've already microchipped him. He'll get his county license as well as a free well visit to the vet. And you'll get all of that for $97.50. If you were to take him just to the vet and have him neutered on your own, that could cost you several $100s. So the fees here, while some people think they may be high, they are definitely the best deal around if you're looking to take home a new pet. If you're interested in Thumper, stop in and visit with us. Our hours of operation where the kennels are open are going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from 10 to 5, Wednesday from 12 to 8, and Saturday from 10 to 4. Our next two guests came in together. They previously lived with one another. They are not on the adoption floor in a cage together. They are not listed as bonded, but some people do like the idea of having two pets, and they want two that get along. So Millicent, who's on the show right now with Tammy, and Miranda, who will be coming out, would be good matches if that's what you're looking for. Millicent is about 7 years old. She's a white with brown tabby, domestic short hair. She's got the cute little face, again, just kind of similar to Thumper, where kind of has that kitten look to her face. But she is a senior, and seniors do have more medical needs than maybe a younger cat. The main thing that we're talking about here with Millicent is that our vet has recommended that she have a dental, which is a tooth cleaning and maybe some extractions in the next 6 to 12 months. So they've estimated that she has a grade 2 to 3 out of 4 of in need of a dental. So just something to keep in mind if you're looking to adopt Millicent, because those dentals are not inexpensive. My cat actually needs another dental, and he's a senior, and the low end of the estimate was about $500. So when they get to become seniors, they want to do senior blood work to make sure that it's okay for them to go under anesthesia. And the vets are charging you not just for the cleaning, but if there's any extractions, they charge you for those things. So making sure that you're able to financially take on a cat that has these needs, or any animal for that matter. If you are concerned about cost, there is pet insurance out there that you can look into. I always encourage people to talk to their vet and make sure that their vet is going to take the insurance type that you're signing up for. But that can be helpful if you know that your pet might have some health issues down the road. Another very important thing to consider when you're looking to adopt Millicent, or Miranda for that matter, is that they are front declawed. So a declawed cat, is really important that you keep them inside and are very cautious about making sure they're not getting out, because they don't have that primary method of defense. It's also harder for them to escape. She does have her back claws, which could help her with climbing if she needed to get up a tree to escape a predator or something. But it's not going to be as quick for her to do that. So to keep her safe, you really want to make sure you're keeping her inside. If you're interested in visiting with Millicent, you can stop in and visit her here at Animal Control. If you want to check on the status of any of the animals before you make the trip out to the shelter, you can always call us. Our phone number is 301-600-1546. This is Miranda. She is the last animal that we have on the show for you today, and she is the one that came in with Millicent. She is also 7 years old. She's just a brown tabby. She's got a much darker coloring to her. She's still gorgeous though. She is also front declawed. Unlike her sister, she still needs a dental, but hers isn't as severe. So we're looking at her more the 12-month time frame, not necessarily that 6 to 12-month time frame like Millicent has. These guys were both brought to the shelter because the owner said they had to move. This is the only home that they have known. So they've spent their entire 7 years with that one family. According to the previous owner, that both of these cats get along with other cats, dogs. They've been exposed to babies and toddlers, children of all ages, men, women, strangers, small animals even. They say that Miranda is calm and friendly. She's not really sure what's going on in here right now. She's showing a little bit of unease, but she's in a new situation. There's lots of smells in this room. The air vent's blowing, and sometimes the cats really don't like that. But eventually they all kind of settle in. And sometimes it's not that they aren't happy to be on a lap. They just want to get down and explore, and that's what you're seeing. They're trying to get down because they want to play and see what new places they're in and smell all the different smells and things like that. Again, it's important to understand that she is front declawed, so her safety is key. If you have kind of more aggressive animals that maybe are going to be more rough in their play, then maybe taking home a declawed cat might not be the best thing, because they won't have that way to defend themselves and assert, hey, that's not okay behavior for me. When you're taking home new animals, even though Miranda and Millicent both get along with other animals of all types, you have to be respectful of the fact that it is a new situation. Just like when we as people meet new people, we don't necessarily always love that person the first moment we meet them. We have to get to know them a little bit more, and animals need that same time. So we always recommend that when you take especially a cat home, you keep that cat isolated for a 10-day period in a room. You go and visit them, but then they get used to the smells and sounds of your home, not just you and the noises that you're making with TV, video games, alarm clocks, treadmills, all of those things, but also the noises that your animals are making and the animal smells. And then you can start to slowly incorporate them into the mix, into the pack, if you will, with supervised interactions, but really giving them that time and being patient with it. If you just toss a new animal into the mix, it can not work well, and then you've kind of set them up for failure. So you really want to take the time to introduce your animals correctly. But if you wanted to make Miranda part of your family, you can stop in and visit with her here at Animal Control. Again, we are open to the public Monday through Saturday. Thank you for watching this episode of Pet Pals. We hope that you enjoyed seeing some of the animals that are available for adoption. Tune in next week where we will introduce you to about 10 more animals that are also looking for forever homes here at Frederick County Animal Control.